Good morning, everyone, or bom dia, as they say over in Portugal, of course, currently still in Lisbon. We're going to discuss last night's 2-2 draw against Benfica in the first leg of the Europa League last 16 tie. I'm delighted to say that Chris Jack joins me to discuss the big talking points from the game. How are we doing, Chris?
Good morning, as they say in Lanarkshire. not too bad, not too bad. It's a late night. Even later for yourself, I'm assuming by the time you get back to digs after the game, but
Yeah.
quite the occasion, quite the performance, and so close to being quite the result for Rangers. Being undone twice in the manner that they were, lost the carry, huge frustration. But I think overall, a really impressive night.
Yeah, it certainly was. It sets it up nicely for next Thursday night at Ibrox. Before we delve into the game in more detail, just a quick word for our podcast sponsors, the MPH Group. We're sponsored by those guys for all your plumbing, heating, kitchen and bathroom needs. These are the guys to call, and the all-important links are in the description below. Do go and check them out, folks. Right, where should we start? Rangers, of course, opening the scoring, bullet header from Tom Lawrence early on in the game. Brilliant cross from Diomande onto Lawrence. It was funny hearing him in the mix zone last night when we spoke to him. He just says that he closed his eyes and was just hoping for the best. But super start from Rangers. Felt they were pretty comfortable in that first half. Jack Butland was called into action on a couple of occasions. And then Benfica awarded a penalty in the first half stoppage time. Harsh, to say the least. John Souttar adjudged to have handled inside the area. The handball rule, it needs sorted out. It's just it's an absolute joke. I can understand why the referee, once he goes over to the monitor, it's pretty ominous that he's going to point towards the spot. Di Maria sending Butland the wrong way. Rangers' response was almost immediate. Fantastic goal. A free kick initially. It was cleared away to as far as Fabio Silva, who I thought was brilliant over on that left-hand side. His ball across the face, and there was Dujon Sterling making a late run to tap home his first ever senior goal. Quite superb from him. Rangers heading into the break in the lead. And in the second half, Benfica had much of the ball, but rarely threatening. They did have opportunities, but their shots were wayward, and Rangers were looking pretty good, you've got to say, until a free kick was awarded. Di Maria floating it in an in-swinger, and there was Connor Goldson bulleting a header past Jack Butland. What we want him to be doing in the opposite end of the pitch, and let's hope he starts doing that. But yeah, Rangers giving away 2 cheap goals, it's fair to say, and but they managed to ride out the storm and take a draw back to Ibrox. Chris, your thoughts on the game?
I think from a night where people would probably have taken a 1-0 or a 2-1, a narrow defeat to take it back to Ibrox, there's this sense of what might have been in many regards that Rangers didn't, as the manager said last night, didn't create history and become the first side to beat Benfica in this competition on their own patch. But overall, I think it was a really impressive night for Rangers. You cannot be disappointed, and you cannot downplay the achievement of a squad who's down to the bare bones in many areas. It's patched up. It's guys who have played a lot of football, somehow finding a way to rise to the occasion. I don't know what happens to some of these guys on a Thursday night, but it's quite the potent mix, because I thought overall Rangers were just really impressive. Thought the goals they scored, it was no smash and grab type stuff. It was no long balls. It wasn't just firing things in and seeing what happened. 2 really good moves. First goal was an absolute cracker, and a great interchange between Silva and Diomande. As I said in my piece on the website last night, it'd have been easy for Diomande just to put his head up and smash that into the area, hoping that someone gets on the end of it, or hoping that it comes off someone. To have that presence of mind to look up, to dink it right into Lawrence's path, timed his run perfectly. Whether he had his eyes open or closed, it was a really good header. Fair play to him for that. And the second goal, I think that's why Fabio Silva is in the side. He has that vision, he has that ability to play a pass like that. And of course, Dujon Sterling pops up, showing that he's a number 9, as well as every other area on the pitch. So being in the right place at the right time timed his run really, really well. Good finish. Great way for Rangers to recover from the penalty, which I'm sure we'll come on to. And of course, losing the second goal takes a wee bit of the shine off it, changes the complexion of the tie slightly. But it was, I say, overall, a really, really impressive night for Rangers. And I think as soon as the whistle went, there was this feeling of, well, it's Ibrox next week. There's the Ibrox factor now comes very much into play. And say next Thursday night, come 5:45, the place will be rocking. And it's then, well, Benfica, how do you fancy it? How do you come and handle it? There's a squad who will get some wonderful players in it. I thought middle to front, they were, again, there's a lot of threat in there. A certain Mr. Di Maria might find themselves on the end of a few boos and heckles over the course of the year. I think he's maybe in for a particularly warm welcome to Glasgow next week. But it's going to be, how do they handle it? They're also playing in front of a crowd who are not overly enamoured with their efforts at present. I thought there was times last night you could almost sense the crowd turning a wee bit and starting to get on their back. The crowd are very much going to be on their back next Thursday night. They're very much going to be in Rangers' corner. And that Ibrox factor just can't be underestimated next week.
Yep, loads of comments coming in. We'll get to a few of them. Apologies if I don't get to them, folks. We're inundated here. I love this. Alan McConnell says, morning all from Central Florida. Not got to bed yet. Still buzzing from yesterday. That's what it's like following at Rangers. Jock with a point as well. Went from hoping to scrape a draw to being disappointed with not winning. Life as a Rangers fan in Europe, and a few comments suggesting I'm in a Lisbon prison. I'm Johnny Cash, says Derek Clark, live from a prison. No, didn't have that great a night, buddy. I'm still in the digs here. Just moved from where I was yesterday because the sun is starting to make an appearance here in Lisbon. About time too, because it was absolutely Baltic yesterday. So much so I had to buy a Benfica woolly hat from one of the club stores outside because it was so cold. But Rangers getting the job done yesterday. It's just unfortunate, of course, that we are still level and away goals are not a thing anymore. But I do fancy Rangers at Ibrox to go and finish the job off. The penalty then, Chris, I touched on it earlier. I've seen that the IFAB rules, if he hits it with one part of his body onto his arm, onto his hand, it shouldn't be a penalty. I thought it was so harsh it defies belief. What was your overriding viewpoint on it?
Harsh, just I think sums it up. That's just the first word that comes to mind. I thought the manager answered it well in his press conference last night. Interesting, he's already touted himself for a place on the UEFA board or the IFAB board to try and change the rules of football. But I thought he answered it well. I think when the referee goes over to the screen and you see the still image of the ball hitting the hand, you just know that it's going to be given. There's never going to be any doubt at that stage. John Souttar doesn't know anything about it. The corner's come in, he's trying to get his head on it, slightly misjudged it. I think it's clipped his head, hit his hand. He's not put his hand in that position to stop the ball going through because the ball still also went through and Jack Butland caught it. He's not put his hand out to try and divert it away from going in the net or to take it off a Benfica player. It's not like the keeper one that we saw in the Championship the other night there, where he's on the line and the hand's up and he's trying to flick it out the road. So I think it's really, really harsh, but it's one of these cases where the laws are what they are. The referees are going to make decisions based on what they've been told to look for, and how they interpret the various laws. So I don't think we can blame the referees as such. I don't think we can blame VAR as such on this one. You can just blame the situation that football in general has got itself into by tweaking and tinkering and messing about with things that often. Got ourselves into a situation where you get nonsense decisions like that. There's no way that Souttar is trying to gain any advantage there. It's just one of these incidents that should have been glossed over. But I think as soon as the ref goes to the monitor, it was obvious how it was going to go. Doesn't make Rangers feel any better. Doesn't change change the outcome. But you have to say, it's just really, really harsh and not. It's maybe within the rules, but I don't think it's within the spirit of the game.
No, I was thinking about this last night about the handball rule and how far it is deviated now from what it originally was. I would like to see the introduction of only penalties if you're trying to save the ball from going into the net with your hand, or it's blatantly obvious that you're stopping the ball with your hand. Anything else, if the ball hits you, ricochets against you, just play on. It's getting beyond a joke now. We've seen it, of course, at Rugby Park recently when John Lundstrom was adjudged to have handled in the box and Kamar got their penalty. The Lewis Mayo handball, which looked blatant, which wasn't given. But yeah, it's an absolute nonsense. But the Rangers' response was fantastic, and it ties in with the mentality in the dressing room. And I've got a little clip here of Big Phil himself, and I'll just post up what he said last night, folks. Here he's.
Then what they give today, they gave their all, everything. Also the guys who came in. We miss a lot of players in the offensive positions, so other players had to do the job. I'm very happy also with Fabio and Dujon doing that role really good in this game. So we need to continue like this, and if they keep this mentality, what they've been showing the last couple of months, then it can be an amazing season.
So there you go. That was the Rangers manager last night. You can watch that press conference in full, folks, on the YouTube channel. Very interesting indeed. You can also hear from Tom Lawrence as well. Dujon Sterling, incidentally, we spoke to him as well. You'll hear from him from 12 noon tomorrow. Always speaks well, does Dujon. Brilliant for him to get his first senior goal. The manager picked out Fabio Silva there for praise. Chris, I thought that was that maybe his best game in a Rangers jersey. Of course, played out on that left-hand side, as he did do so for PSV when he was on loan last season. Got an assist, brilliant ball across the face for Dujon. He just looked bang up for it last night. I'm not too sure if that's just because he's looking to playing in that position, or he's going back to a former employer of his and he was looking to impress. Either way, let's hope it continues.
I thought he was really, really good last night, and as you say, Derek, arguably his best performance in a Rangers jersey. As I had a hand in both goals, looked a threat all night, showed a real composure on the ball, showed good mentality. Because as you say, he's as one of the higher profile, or the highest profile player within the Rangers side. He's always going to be naturally more of a target, but I thought he handled the whole occasion. They're going back to Portugal, going back to Benfica. That expectation, coming into the side, playing slightly out of position in a role that we've not seen him fulfil that often for Rangers. I thought he just ticked all the boxes last night. Really, really good. I think you saw his celebrations at the goals. He was really pumped up at times. You can tell that he gets it. He understands what it means to the club and the fans and the manager and his teammates. He might only be here for a short time, but I think Rangers have certainly made an impression on him so far. If they're going to get through, he's going to be huge next week at Ibrox. Now, it's hard to see how the team deviates too much next Thursday, because we know about Cantwell, we know about Matondo, we know about Seaman, Cortez. Really short of options in that final third. So we're going to need Silva to potentially go out at left-hand side again and do a job. But if you put him in that role, I think we can now safely say that he's more than capable of going out there and doing it. I thought he put in a real shift. I know we spoke about myself and Josh. Well, you're having your Wi-Fi issues last night. Myself and Josh spoke about him, and he compared them to the situation over in Prague when Sima had to come in on that left-hand side and just put in a real selfless shift up and down that channel. Put in a brilliant performance that night to help the team. It was selfless. And I thought there was degrees of that in Silva last night. Covered a lot of ground when he had to, but he's in the team to be an attacking threat, and he had those two key moments. So that nice interchange with Diomande for the first, picks out a lovely pass for Dujon for the second, and those are the kind of moments that you're paying the money for. Now on big games, big stages, when you really need something, you need big players to step up, and I thought he certainly did that.
Yeah, lots of points coming in about various other players, which we'll get to. First of all, Kev Armstrong says, love seeing Derek getting pictured with the fans like Adam from Heart in Hand. Yeah, spent a good bit of time with Adam yesterday, which was fantastic, and some other of the Rangers fans, of course. And it was great to see them in good spirits. And the feeling beforehand was just keep the tie alive going into the return leg, and Rangers certainly did that. Ridvan Yilmaz is coming in for a lot of praise for his performance yesterday, Chris. Neil McLean says he was his man of the match. He stopped plenty of potentially lethal crosses. He was up against Di Maria. Thought he looked good against him. Not an easy task, of course, but I thought defensively he was sound, and obviously he provides that attacking threat as well going forward. We're just seeing the best of Ridvan Yilmaz now, aren't we? It was only a matter of weeks ago we were thinking that he was potentially heading out the Ibrox exit door. He is not anymore. He looks like he's enjoying his football. And like Fabio Silva, let's hope he can keep that up.
No, just a guy who's improving week on week, game on game. As you mentioned, someone who at the start of the January transfer window, if it come out say like you'll make your money back on them, and the manager can go and sign another left back, I don't think many fans have been that upset. But over the course of the window, the manager's already, I think he mentioned last week and the week before, about his mentality during that stage, and never let any of the talk or the speculation, never let it get to him. And he also mentioned, what I thought was really interesting, he now feels a bit more part of the squad. It was along the lines of that wasn't the case 6 months or so ago. I think that feeds into everything that has been good about Clement. He's made players feel at home. He's made them feel more together. He's made them feel part of a side, and he's allowed them to win games. And winning games naturally breeds confidence and brings levels up. That's a huge part down to the manager. If you ask him about that, I'm sure he'll say it's down to the players themselves. They are the ones that go out and do it. Ridvan is the one that has raised his levels, and it's put in the hard work. And his levels certainly have been raised. As if a guy who wasn't deemed good enough to be part of the European squad at first, to then put in a performance like that away at a venue like that, I say all credit to him. Fair play for the turnaround in his Rangers career. He is undoubtedly the first choice left back right now at present. That's not to say he's going to play every minute of every game. The manager has already discussed this. The rotation system that's in place, it has to try and keep players fit. You're competing across 3 competitions, hopefully over the coming weeks. It asks a lot of the squad. It asks a lot of the individuals. There are going to be times where Barisic will come back in. He will be needed. But for me, Ridvan, I see he's definitely the first choice in that area of the pitch now. And again, last night he was really, really impressive.
Yeah, as you touched on that rotation and keeping players fit, leads us nicely on, because there's a few comments coming in about certain other players that looked to have ran themselves into the ground last night. Denzel The Point says, a fabulous result. Ridvan, Lawler and Mandy were standouts. Otherwise, Goldson, Suter and Lunny looked tired. Dublin Bears also says, Lunny looks so tired, really heavy legs. He needs a break. That stood out for me last night, Chris, I've got to say. It wasn't his best of games, John Lundstrom. It just looks like he does need a break. He has played sort of pretty much every minute of every game since the manager has come in. If Rangers can take him, rest him, shall we say, on Sunday against Hibs, I don't know how fit Ryan Jack is to start games. I would be tempted to start him on the bench on Sunday. Let us know in the comments if you agree, folks. I just think he looked a bit leggy last night.
If it wasn't Hibs at Easter Road, I think the decision would be slightly easier. Even if it was Hibs at Ibrox, I think it's maybe an easier decision. Lundstrom has been, as we've spoken about a number of times in the last few weeks, he's just been so impressive under Clement. Spoken about his contract situation, how he's earned it. I just think at Easter Road, it's the type of game that's almost custom made for John Lundstrom. The type of occasion you expect him to go in and rise to and put in a great shift. I think he's spoken before about he would rather train. He seems to be one of these guys. If the manager says, "I'll give you a break," he'll say, "I'm fine. I don't need it." He will empty the tank. I thought he did that last night. In the closing stages, he was clearly burst. He put in such an effort over the minutes previously. If Rangers had different options in the final third, perhaps he didn't have to play Sterling on the right hand side, he can maybe get in the middle of the pitch, as Denzel says. Great minds think alike. Sterling can maybe get into that area of the pitch, but that then a lot depends on Ross McCausland. Is he fit to start? If McCausland's not fit to get through the minutes on the right hand side, then Sterling has to go in there. So if you can somehow say to John Lundstrom, look, just give us another big effort on Sunday, and by the way, if you can do it again next Thursday, we'll give you a rest up at Dens Park. That's maybe more of a game where you can bring in a Ryan Jack or someone like Nico Raskin perhaps. By that time, McCausland is hopefully fully recovered. Sterling can drop back in it, and we can then make that move. But I think it would be a big call to leave Lundstrom out of a game like Sunday.
Yeah, it certainly would be, but there's no doubt about it. It does look like games are catching up on him. And ditto the comment earlier about Goldson and Suter. I would be inclined to bring in Leon Balogun at the weekend. Chris, I don't know if you agree. I know that the Suter handball is the Goldson header. It's another mistake from him. He's come in for a bit of criticism recently, especially after the weekend defeat to Motherwell as well. Would you be looking at perhaps bringing in Balogun against Hibs on Sunday?
I sent you my predicted team about half an hour ago, and I did have John Suter in it, but I gave a notable mention to Leon Balogun. It's been about a month or so since his last appearance now. I think Suter deserves on form. I think overall, I know he also made the mistake against Motherwell at the weekend there. Helpless at the penalty last night. Overall, last night I thought he was good. On form, I think he deserves to keep his place. It's just a fitness issue. Can you ask him to keep churning out these games? If the manager feels that he perhaps needs a rest, Balogun is an ideal guy to bring into the side. I would have no qualms about Leon starting on Sunday whatsoever. It really just comes down to fitness and conditioning to see how the manager sees it. I think it's safe to say that Goldson will start. He's the one that's there all the time, and it's then just just rotating that other position alongside him. Goldson, I thought it was poor from the goal last night. I saw Ali McCoist on the TV last night, and he was talking about communication, and that sums it up. Now, why is nobody giving him a shout? Why is the goalkeeper not giving him a shout? Butland could argue he can maybe have come for it. How many times have we seen goals in that position in the last few weeks? As you mentioned at the top of the show, that's the type of header that if it's another area, he sticks it over the bar, because he has done that so often. One down at Kelly, I think he had a great chance he had on and put it straight at the goalkeeper. It's a really, really soft and avoidable goal to lose for so many reasons. And Goldson, he should have directed the header better. I think that communication thing that McCoist made is very, very pertinent. So I think it was a poor goal overall, not Goldson's finest hour. Overall, though, I thought he was fine. I don't think he was the weak link within the side by any stretch. History generally shows that Rangers are a worse side without him, and they look a better side with him. So I think he'll definitely start on Sunday. He's one of these guys who you can rely on to churn out the game. So he'll be there on Sunday. If there's any rotation at centre back, I think it'll be Goldson and then Balogun or Suter. But I'd be inclined to stick with John Suter.
Yeah. Okay. Just on Lundstrom, Aldo with the point. He says Jack and Raskin need to step up, give Lunny a break. Maka gets in touch as well. He says that was a giant ice pack Dujon had on at the end of the game. What's the news on that, Derek? I think it was just precautionary, Maka. I think you should be fine for Sunday. And Sonny Boy as well with an interesting point. He says, what is it with the Lawrence celebration, lol? He was asked about this in the mix zone last night, but he said it's too long a story. So he refused to tell us about it. So yeah, it's an interesting one. I don't think I've seen that before, Chris, the old crybaby celebration. Are you a fan of it?
If you keep scoring goals, then you can. If we see it lots of times between now and the end of the season, then I'll become a huge fan of it. I don't know what the story behind it is. I say he also declined the platform to bring it in zone last night. I think the the next time he scores or next time he's put up for the press, I'm sure it will get asked again. We'll try our best to get it out of him between now and the end of the season. But no, if it's something that we see another half a dozen times, that would certainly be a nice thing.
Yeah, just touching on that, that goes on OG. Stuart's got a point on that. He says it's not an argument. Butland should have been out claiming it, so that is where he stands on that. Up top, I thought Cyril Dessers, it was a Cyril Dessers type performance, Chris. His touch wasn't the best at times. I thought when Kamar Ru came on, Rangers just looked more threatening up top. He just holds the ball in ever so well, doesn't he? Uses his body so well as well. Kamar Ru, Christopher with the point says, I thought Ru made a difference last night. Dessers couldn't trap a fish supper. So yeah, listen, I think if Rangers can keep Kamar Ru fit, with how many times have we said that on the video, but is he an option perhaps to start on Sunday, or do you continue with Dessers up there?
If we could find a way of combining Kamar Ru and Cyril Dessers into one super striker, that'd be smashing. If we could put Kamar Ru's head on Cyril Dessers' body, then Rangers would have almost ideal number 9. Because you would then have somebody that can finish, you have somebody that's got a really good level of football intelligence, but you would have somebody who can be robust and who can get through the games and get through the minutes. Unfortunately, we can't, and we have to make do with both of them with their various idiosyncrasies and their various positives and their various negatives. I think it'd be a big call to start Ru at the weekend. He's only played a handful of minutes in a couple of games. I think it was interesting that the manager brought him on when he did last night rather than earlier. I don't think Dessers had a terrible game. Don't think he had a great game. We have seen this rotation round about the hour mark, but the manager waited. Probably the knowledge you just don't want to give Ru too much to do too soon. So I don't see him starting. I think if he gets another half hour maybe at Easter Road, that would be a good step up. It would be another positive step on his road to recovery, because we know that if he breaks down again, anyone who's injured at this stage of the season runs the risk of not playing again this season. We're now at that stage of the campaign. The weeks and the games are rapidly running out now, so it's something that the manager does have to be wary of. Ru provides a great option from the bench right now. If you're needing a goal, he's the ideal type of guy to put on. If you want to manage a game, he's very good at that side of it as well. I don't think he's the guy to start and go and score the goals to win you a game right now. That's not to say he can't be. If you get towards the end of the season, still competing in 3 competitions over the next few weeks, that'd be great. He will have a big part to play. I think right now it would be a big call to go and start him at a venue like Easter Road, with a Hib side that's going to be fired up for it, a lot of pressure, big game feel. I think he's maybe just a good option to have from the sidelines.
Yeah, we'll wrap up with this comment from Francis. She says, Cole McKinnon had a good game when he came on. He absolutely did. Great to see him coming on. Said to Joshua when we'd done the full-time reaction video, Chris, was his last senior appearance the Tynecastle game prior to Seville. I can't quite remember when he came on last. They can maybe come on a cup game, perhaps. You can batter away at your keyboard and do some research while I discuss how good he was last night. Yeah, I thought he came on, young lad, and a daunting environment, of course, and I thought he acquitted himself really, really well. He spoke to Rangers TV afterwards in the mix zone as well. I'm not too sure if that interview is out just yet, but he was buzzing. Wasn't aware he'd be getting on, I don't think. But when he did, got the message from the manager, who obviously trusted him against some quality opposition. And it's always good to see players that have come through the academy make senior appearances, Chris, and I thought he did reasonably well when he came on.
Going by the ever reliable soccer base, it was his first Rangers appearance since that day at Tynecastle. Off the bench and scored. Also had his loan at Partick Thistle last season. Has come back into the Rangers fold. Injuries have obviously opened up an avenue for him. If everyone is fit, Cole McKinnon's not in the squad. If everyone's fit, he doesn't get on the pitch. But the same could have been said about Ross McCausland 3, 4, 5 months ago. He has made the most of his chance. If McKinnon can go and make the most of his chance, then great. It's always nice to see younger players coming through the academy. It's an area that I think Rangers have to get better at. It's probably a bigger conversation, but it's an area that Rangers have to get better at. I know the commentary team last night were talking about Benfica and some of the huge transfer fees that they've recouped over the years by bringing players through their own youth system or by signing them from South America in particular and then selling them on. That's the model that Rangers are working to. Also, Niels Coppin will have a big part to play in that in terms of the signings. The academy team and the academy structure, they have to produce more players that are able to kind of come through the ranks. And it's difficult because you're now looking at, you need to produce someone who at 17, 18, 19 can go and play Europa League football. It's not just a case of being good enough for the Premiership. It's can you be part of a successful Rangers side, a winning Rangers side, and be part of a Rangers team that's competing at Europa League level, potentially Champions League level. So it's difficult for young players to make that step up. But I thought McKinnon came on, really put himself about last night. There's a great block late on that could prove crucial in terms of the tie. So no, fair play to him. It's always nice to see these guys coming on. And I think it says a lot about the manager as well. Willing to put his faith in the kids, having them in the squad, and then also being able to put them on and saying, "Look, go! I trust you at this level, at this stage. I trust you to go and do a job."
Yeah, I thought he did well when he came on. Right, that'll do us there, folks. Thanks to each and every one of you for interacting with the show as ever. Bumper show today, so it's fantastic to see. If you haven't subscribed to the website, incidentally, lots on there from last night's game. And as you can see, if you're watching us on Instagram, Facebook or YouTube, we've got those two great offers on: £4 for 4 months, or you can sign up for an entire year for just £18. Head over to rangersreview.co.uk/subscribe for all the details. For our YouTube members, I think myself and Chris will be recording a video at some point looking ahead to the game on Sunday. How do you see that one going, Chris? I think it's going to be another roll the sleeves up job.
I'll save my big previews for the member show. There's your incentive to go and sign up and go and pay the money to join us later on. But no, I think it's a huge game for Rangers at this stage. The big games just keep on coming. It's perhaps not the tie you would have handpicked. I think there was easier draws within the at this stage of competition. But when you get to this time of the Scottish Cup, everything's difficult. We know we're so close to potentially another trip to Hampden. People starting to whisper the treble word. There's a lot of football to be played, a lot of...
the quadruple word maybe, Chris.
Well, there is that. Whispering that one slightly quieter. But when we're sitting here this time next week, ask me again, and we'll see how likely the quadruple is. But as you say, it's a huge game at the weekend, and I think the way that Rangers are going right now, a real feel-good factor within the squad. Obviously, after last night, you'd have to back up to go and get the job done.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, folks, that'll do us there. We'll speak to you a little later on. If we don't see you later, then enjoy your Friday, enjoy your weekend, and hopefully your team wins on Sunday. Bye for now.